Hey there, Cowboys fans. We're going to have our normal rumor show coming up here in a little bit. Before we do that, a very important update we need to start off today's show with. As I'm sure many of you have heard, the Cowboys had canceled practice today due to a medical emergency, non-COVID related, involving strength and conditioning coach Markus Paul. Now, there had been reports, mostly from players, current players and former players, that Markus Paul had passed away. That is not the case. The update that the Cowboys just put out in an official statement is that Paul is at the hospital currently, and he is still undergoing tests. And the Cowboys and his family are asking for thoughts and prayers at the current moment. So it's a very serious update. Hopefully everything ends up being okay for Paul. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but all we can do is just try and speak some positivity into the universe. So you can put the prayer emoji in there. You can just put thoughts and prayers, whatever you want in the comments section. Hopefully everything works out well for Markus Paul and for his family. Our thoughts and prayers here at Chat Sports are with him and his family. Hopefully everyone is for you guys as well. All right, back to the normal show here for you guys on today's video. Are the Cowboys going to win the NFC East? I'm going to keep this at 2 stars, but yeah, the odds went up, and we'll get to those later on, in a big-time way involving the Cowboys here. Because the NFC East is the worst division in the history of divisions, maybe ever in the NFL, the Cowboys are very much alive. And in reality, the schedule's not that difficult the rest of the way. And if they can beat Washington on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, as difficult as things are going to be for this organization in light of the Markus Paul update, that would put them in first place, at least for the time being. Here's where things stand. Now remember, Cowboys, Washington, they play on Thursday. So the winner of that game, at least for a couple days, will take over first place in the NFC East. The Eagles play the Seahawks. Giants got the Bengals, so the Giants might end up winning that game as well. But the Cowboys are right back in the midst of a position they should not be in this year, alive in the NFC East race. So will the Cowboys win the NFC East? Get your votes in here. Y for yes or N for no. Do you believe the Cowboys, in a year in which in reality no one in this division should be allowed to win, but it's how things work, are they going to pull it off? Get your votes in. Y for yes or N for no. Now, as mentioned, here are the NFC East odds from our friends over at BetUS. Eagles are still the betting favorite, plus 150. The Cowboys, plus 200. Washington, New York, plus 325. Now, the schedule for several of these teams, mostly those bottom 3, aren't, the biggest importance there. They have their most difficult schedule. Cowboys, though, look, you're probably not going to beat the Ravens on Thursday Night Football, but the Bengals just lost Joe Burrow. They might not win another game the rest of the season. The Niners, then the Eagles, Giants, Week 16, Week 17. In reality, my expectation for this team is there is still a very real possibility, as weird as this sounds, that the Dallas Cowboys are going to enter that Week 16 stretch still competing not just for a potential top 5, top 10 pick, but also for a chance to win the NFC East, because that's how weird things have been this year. The Cowboys are a betting favorite for the first time in weeks at home against Washington. They're favored by 3. You can bet on the Cowboys to win the game or lose the game. You'll have player props. You can bet them to win the division as well. If you took the Cowboys at plus 800 last week, shoot, man, you might have some pretty good odds to end up pulling out that one there. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you see on screen, Cowboys125, for a 125% deposit bonus. That's, again, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code, Cowboys125. Let's talk Anthony Brown now. Is he going to be playing against Washington? I don't think so. I'm going to give this just the 1 star here. Brown re-injured his hip against the Minnesota Vikings, and that's a very big red flag for the Dallas Cowboys going forward in terms of, is he going to be play? Is he not going to be able to play? Or rib, excuse me. I made that same mistake again. He injured his rib, re-injured that against the Minnesota Vikings. So I hope that Anthony Brown is going to be okay to go, and that he's going to be fine, and long-term will be able to return, because you're so thin in the secondary. But that rib injury is a concern, and I don't think he's going to be able to go against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, McCarthy said Brown was going to try and play, and he'd know more today, but that's because the Cowboys were supposed to have practice. They did not today because of Markus Paul's condition, and the short turnaround makes it almost impossible. Now, Brown has been meh. He hasn't played a ton, again, because of that rib injury. 61.5% through the air is his completion percentage, allowed, I should say. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, just the 1 pass breakup. It's not very good. Now, he's been cornerback, too, for this team a lot because, well, you only just now got Chidobe Awuzie back, and Trevon Diggs is on IR right now, and you've got RASHARD Robinson and Reggie Robinson. More on those two coming up here in a little bit. Technically, RASHARD's on the practice squad, but it's so thin I had to include him there. If Anthony Brown can't go, a cornerback unit for the Cowboys basically hasn't had anyone playing at their normal level because of injuries for the entire season, is once again banged up. And to be clear, Anthony Brown is still better than what we've seen out of the other options in the Robinson duo for the Cowboys. Now, Cowboys-Washington is going to be live on Thanksgiving, and me and producer Sam are going to spend our evening with you guys watching the game, have a little post-game reaction as well, preview that Cowboys upcoming game the week after that against the Ravens. So if you want to join us for our live Cowboys versus Washington football team watch party, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Let's talk RASHARD Robinson now. Is he the replacement for Anthony Brown? Probably. Again, because of all the other injuries, namely Trevon Diggs, the Cowboys are profoundly thin at the cornerback spot. That leaves RASHARD Robinson, who had been picked up early in the season, added to the practice squad. He was a game day call-up against the Minnesota Vikings and played a pretty decent amount. We'll break down his stats here in a little bit. He's likely going to be another game day call-up again. Maybe Brown goes on IR for 3 weeks again. Actually, they can't do that because if Anthony Brown goes back on IR, his season's over. You can't go on IR and come back twice, so keep that in mind. I almost forgot about that one. Robinson got some run against the Minnesota Vikings. He was targeted 4 times, allowed 3 completions for 30 yards and a score. The last one he was targeted on, though, wasn't complete, which I think helps out a very big way. I, though, would like to see Reggie Robinson get the call. I know there were some Cowboys beat writers out there who were like, oh, Reggie Robinson's playing. Wrong Robinson. RASHARD got playing time against Minnesota. I want to see Reggie Robinson out there, though. And I know they moved him to safety. I'd at least make him active. Because you're pulling practice squad guys up to play games. They did with Savion Smith before, too. That's not a good option. Let's see what the 4th-round rookie out of Tulsa can do. He's played corner a lot. I know he moved to safety. He can go back. I at least want to see it happen because I still want to play those young guys going forward. Now, I'm going to make this question the pinned comment on today's video. I want you guys to predict the score of Dallas against Washington. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you get that ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. I was not ready to talk about this one today, but here we are because 2020 is wild. Was the whole Mike McCarthy smashing watermelons thing racist? No, it wasn't. And I don't want to try and tell people how they should feel. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I think that there's a lot of reaching going on here. So Shannon Sharpe has accused Mike McCarthy of his watermelon bit being inappropriate and racist and all of that, and says, "Oh, I don't know how Mike McCarthy did that. I don't know how the players felt about that," which is a major accusation. But we already know how the players felt about it. So you're trying. So what Sharpe is doing here, and I'm fearing that it's really just for clicks and views, is trying to infer hurt where there was none from the players. Here's what Tom Pelissero, who broke this news, reported about. And look, is it a weird bit? Sure. He says the players are roaring. McCarthy's pants are soaked after smashing the watermelon. They're getting to one with Dalvin Cook's picture on it. And DeMarcus Lawrence jumps up and goes, I got to go. I got to get that one. He gets the sledgehammer and smashes it. It's kind of a weird thing. I wouldn't feel like I'd personally be very motivated by it, but it worked. The players enjoyed it. So why are we trying to tell them how they should feel? Because that's really what Sharpe's doing here. Nobody before Sharpe brought this up had any issue with what was going on. And that's my problem. We're making a deal out of nothing. Now, if players want to come out and say, yeah, I didn't like that, okay, that's a different conversation. But that's not what's going on here. It's somebody outside of the team, outside of the locker room, with no affiliation whatsoever to the organization, trying to accuse and start drama. I don't like that. Is it a weird bit? Sure, it's a Gallagher bit, but whatever. If the players enjoy it, who cares? Why are we trying to make a big deal? I don't get it whatsoever. If you don't believe me, go ask Law Nation, friend of the show. Now, we do have a special Black Friday deal for you guys from our friends over at Fanatics. Head over to chatsports.com/Cowboys Friday. I'll get that link in the comments and in the description for you guys. There is a ridiculous amount of items on sale for 50% off, by the way, the 4-pack masks, this quarter zip as well, the tumblers, the hat, t-shirt, combo pack stuff we showed you, and a whole heck of a lot more. It's all available right there, bottom of the screen. Chatsports.com/Cowboys Friday. That is chatsports.com/Cowboys Friday. And again, I will get that link in the comments and in the description for you. Let's talk Dorance Armstrong now. Is he outstanding? No, he is not. Fake news on this one. I am personally offended by the comments here from one Jerry Jones. Look, Armstrong played a career high in snaps against the Minnesota Vikings. And I understand the thought process behind that. Look, he was going to be active. With Bradley and I, different discussion we'll get into. But Armstrong was active. Gregory was pretty sick this week. And the Cowboys trusted Armstrong more to drop into coverage and stop the run. And he's fine at doing that. If Dorance Armstrong is your edge 4, you're probably in okay shape. The problem is, Dorance Armstrong wasn't edge 4 against Minnesota. He played over half the snaps, 58% to be exact, 37 in total. And the number one job of an edge rusher is to rush the passer. And if you want to utilize Armstrong as a run stopper, okay, I get that. He made like 5 tackles in the game. None of them were tackles for loss. There were still some missed opportunities. He's been fine. He's been a guy. He is the definition of replacement level this year. And he has done, and that's in the run game. Like he's not a liability in that area for the most part. But damn it, I want more than that. Dorance Armstrong's pressure rate is barely 5%. That means on 5% of his snaps, and pass rush snaps, I mean, specifically those snaps, he gets a pressure on the quarterback. For reference, Dorance Armstrong's got 5 pressures this year total. Total 5 pressures, so 5% and 5 pressures. Randy Gregory had 4 in like 13 snaps against Minnesota, and he had 5 the week before that. So in terms of pure pass rush, Armstrong doesn't bring you anything. And you have somebody on the bench that is young, and I think can handle the Dorance Armstrong role just fine. Being an edge setter, stopping passes as needed, and brings you more in the passing game. Damn it, I want to see Bradley and I want him out there. I don't see any reason why the Cowboys are continuously giving Dorance Armstrong snaps. I guess Jerry likes him because the call is coming from inside the house. Get your votes in here to pick your edge number 4, of course, behind Lawrence and Smith and Randy Gregory, because those guys should be playing the most amount of snaps. Get your votes in here. B for Bradley and I, or D for Dorance Armstrong. Let's talk Greg Zuerlein now. Is everything okay? 3 stars. It certainly seems that way, but I do just want to at least monitor it because, again, the Cowboys cannot be trusted when it comes to injury updates. Now, Zuerlein appeared to tweak his back on that little squib kick at half before the Minnesota Vikings. It didn't seem to be an issue in the second half. He kicked just fine, and for the most part, Zuerlein's done a good job this year, minus some missed extra points. That's been your main problem there. And Zuerlein should be good to play against the Washington football team. That shouldn't be a problem at all, or at least that's what Mike McCarthy says. I am inclined to believe him, and also the Cowboys don't really have any other options. If Zuerlein can't go, they literally can't get another kicker in. They don't have anyone. There's no one on the practice squad right now. That's it. So it'd be Hunter Nicewander as your punting kickoff specialist. Maybe they're trying to do kicks too. Yeah, it'd be really weird and very confusing because by the time they clear COVID, the game's already over. So I am inclined to believe the Cowboys, but I will monitor this given a history of injuries last year for Greg Zuerlein.